Hi, and welcome to the webinar today, the Accountant's Email Marketing Report 2024. So we'll be launching this report today. Before we do that, my name is Matt Wilkinson. I'm one of the founders of BizInc. I'm in the South Island of New Zealand. I'd love to know where you're dialing in from today. You can let me know in the chat, and then we can test that out. And if you get stuck with anything in terms of technical issues, my colleague Anthea is on the session today as well, and she'll do her best to help you out. So you could use the chat to contact us with that. And if you have any questions as we go through. But yeah, let me know where you are coming from today. Hey Tanya, how you doing? Up in the top of the South Island in Marlborough. We're doing two sessions of this, right? I suspect everyone will be in Australia and New Zealand, and we're doing another one for more kind of US and Northern Hemisphere time zones. Hey to Stephen in Hastings, everyone in NZ so far. Hey Stacey, nice and sunny in Ballarat in Australia. Been nice and sunny here this week, but I think it's going to rain during this session today. Now, Andy's going to be dropping a few links into the chat as well. So the first one is going to be a copy of the report. So she'll drop that in there. And I'm going to be talking through some highlights from that today. But I encourage you to take a look at that. So I think it's super interesting. So she'll drop that in the chat there. To Shona in Melbourne. I'll be there in a couple of weeks for a conference. Looking forward to doing that. Hey, David in Manila. Anthony's telling me I need to share my screen. Thank you for telling me that. I thought I'd already done that. Bear with me. Good to know now rather than halfway through like I normally do. There we go. I think you should see that. Let me know if you can't. Hey, Andrew in Auckland, how are you going? Right, let's get into it. So what we did was a survey of 116 firms, and we did that in August and September, I believe. Closed it off, and then we've been writing the report since. And it was just about email marketing, which, if you've listened to any of my stuff, is a topic that I really enjoy talking about. I think it is one of the most effective but underused tactics for accountants and bookkeepers. So here's some of the headline stats. Like 33% of the people we surveyed said they never send marketing emails, which is not enough, as in they don't send enough. 60% say that email is important or very important to their strategy. And a third say knowing where to start is their biggest challenge. So I think there's like, a kind of conflict there between people either not doing things or not knowing where to start, but still valuing email as really important to their strategy. So what I'm going to look at today is some of the highlights from the report, which so you can get that link is in the chat there. We'll also be emailing that out to you. I'm going to give you some tips based on those findings, and then I'm going to share some extra resources because that kind of knowing where to start piece, I really want to help with that. And funnily enough, that is one of the biggest pain points that accountants and bookkeepers always say to us when we ask about marketing in general. So like, what are the big pain points? First one people always say is time, then knowing where to start and knowing what to do. And often it's all three of those things. So on that kind of how often people are sending, they say a third of firms are saying they never send any marketing emails, and that isn't enough. There's a third who never send, and then 25% or over 25% are sending emails less than once a quarter, which again I think it's not frequent enough. I would recommend sending emails at least monthly, and I've put together a bit of a suggested schedule, which Anthony's going to share in the chat as well. So I'm just going to show you this. Now, this is very much an example. You would tweak this to your own firm, but something like this would be what I would do if I had an accounting firm. So I'd actually be sending one email a week. So this is a quarter, like week 1, 2, 3, 4 through to 12, and I'd be sending two main types of emails. One would be email blasts, promotional emails, and one would be email newsletters. And I'd be sending them to kind of two big groups. One would be clients, pretty obvious, and then the other one would be prospects, which is what a lot of firms don't do. So, for example, the client newsletter, I imagine a lot of you on the call today send a client newsletter. It's very kind of, time-worn tactic because it works. I think it's a really evergreen thing to do. I'd be sending that monthly, and a couple of options on that. So you can do like the sort of like several snippets linking to like a full article on your blog, multiple stories. Probably what I would do personally would be the single topic, like one topic and all the content in the email. Staying with clients, I'd be sending a promotional email to clients. So maybe I asked this in the chat. Do you think your clients know all the ways you can help them? Do you think your clients know all the ways you can help them? Now, you can put yes or no in the chat. Every time I ask this question, people always say no. Thanks, Stephen. I ask this question all the time when I'm doing webinars, when I'm speaking in public. And, the thing there is we can call that cross-selling or upselling, and, we can do the whole sales as a dirty word type thing. The reality is clients want more help, more than happy to pay for that. They want your help. And what's a really easy way to do that? You have all their email addresses, send them an email. So, like upsell a payroll service or something like that. Then, so yeah, like as you can see, have that same cadence, week 3 of the month, do your newsletter, week 1, an email blast to clients. Now, the weeks don't matter, right? I've just putting it down. It doesn't matter which weeks you do it in. There's no kind of formula to that. It's just more making sure it's done. Prospects. So we'll talk about growing a prospect list in a little bit, but I would also be doing an email newsletter to prospects. So I've done it here as like a niche newsletter. So the niche here I've used as the example would be agencies, because I know that world. So like key financial trends for agencies in 2025, like how to get paid faster by agency clients. So useful information to people who might become clients. And then email blasts as well. So, trying to convert those people to becoming clients. So that's like a rough schedule that I would use in terms of frequency. Note at the bottom here, I'd have some email automations running constantly, and the vast chunk of firms aren't using email automation. So things like lead nurture sequences or welcome sequences, I'd have those running as well for people who signed up to the lists. So check out that document. It's got a bit of an idea generator as well to give you some ideas of content for newsletters and email blasts as well. Okay, so jumping back to the survey, we asked about what platform people were using, and 31% of firms didn't have a platform. I'm not sure how much that correlated with the people who weren't sending emails as well. I'd imagine pretty strongly. And that was the most popular answer, right? So what I mean by an email platform is something like MailChimp is the most famous one, which was the next most popular answer, with 20% of firms using that. So basically a proper app for doing bulk emailing. Upload your list, write your email, hit send, goes to everyone, and that's got proper things like unsubscribe in it. What never to use is things like Outlook or Gmail. First of all, because they're just not the right tool for the job. They're for like one-to-one emails, or maybe like you're copying people in, but it's certainly not a newsletter type situation. Other problem with those is they're not legally compliant. So in most countries, having an unsubscribed list is a link is mandatory, right? And people can't do that from your Gmail or your Outlook. So it's definitely not the right place to do email marketing. We've actually just launched, gone into beta, an email marketing app. So I'll show you that later. And if you want to try that out for free, I'll give you some information on that. So we also asked a question about list size. So how many people are on the email list? And for 45% of firms, less than 100. Now, first thing I would say would be that quality trumps quality when it comes to lists. You're far better having a really engaged list, even if that's only 50 people, than 500 people and they're just some list that you bought. But there is a point where like more is better, right? Like because the reason why people buy is not necessarily down to what you're doing. People only engage an accountant or a bookkeeper when they are ready and not when you are. And that's actually one of the powers of email marketing, say a newsletter, is you staying top of mind with people. So I think growing your list is important. 71% of firms that we talked to did nothing to grow their list. And I mean, obviously with clients, that's like a kind of like a different scenario that grows obviously in a different way. But I would also be having a list of prospects as well and looking to build that potential buyers and making that a KPI in the firm to keep growing that list. I think it's one of the most important marketing assets that you can have because it's an owned asset. So what I mean by that, if you're posting on LinkedIn or Facebook or any of these things, they're rented assets, right? That they can change their algorithm, and same would go for Google. You can be doing well in terms of SEO. Google changed their algorithm, you're gone, and you've built your house on rented land. Now, I'm not saying don't do those things. We do a lot of those things, but that email list is an owned asset. So I think it's really important, and also that kind of selling more to clients piece as well. So really thinking about your list. I'm not going to show it today, but some of the other statistics showed that people won't really do anything to clean their list or make sure it's legally compliant, and a lot of that is quite easy to do. But that kind of quality over quantity thing is really important there. If you are looking to grow your list, I think, like I said before, making that a KPI of going, okay, we've got 50 now, we're aiming for 5 a month, even at like a low rate like that. I mean, we'll get some unsubscribes as well. It doesn't take long before that starts to stack up. So once you've got, once you're doing some email marketing, you've got to be promoting it as well. So yes, Steve, you're asking any ways to suggesting to grow your list. I could do a whole session on this, and I'll try and include a bit more information in the in the follow-up email. But I think the first thing would be to have an incentive for people to get on your list. So it could be an interactive tool, it could be an ebook, what we might call a lead magnet. So that'd be the first thing, is like give people a reason to sign up for your list, and then promote that list. So I was literally just talking to a person in Canada, and they've been trying Google ads, they've been trying Facebook ads, they've been trying all these different ways to grow their firm. They're not really worked, and he wants to do an email. And I said, well, like, why that's really good is if you think about someone signing up for an accountant or bookkeeper, it's quite a big commitment. It's like the opposite of an impulse buy. So things like adverts don't tend to work that well. You have to build trust, and so getting people onto your email list, talking to them over a period of time, that's really powerful. So I think that promoting your email sign up rather than promoting book a meeting with us is a really powerful thing to do, because it's what we would talk about as like a value ladder. The top of that ladder is they're working with you, but there are a few steps there. And so you basically making that sort of signing up to your email list or signing up to that lead magnet that's at the top of that funnel, making that the priority of your marketing. So this is just to jump out of the survey for a second. I kind of want to just keep the context of what email marketing is for an accounting or bookkeeping firm. Leads to Loyalty is the framework that we've developed for how to market a professional services firm. And one of the things about email is it really works across all of these stages. Some things only tend to work at one of these stages, but with email, it's working right across this journey. And that can be for people signing up for lists like we've just been talking about, getting a newsletter. They could be getting an automation, you might call it like a drip sequence, or like a funnel, marketing to clients. So it works across all of these stages. We asked people how important email was to their marketing strategy, and half said it was either important or very important. So I think I think people are understanding that it is a tactic that can work. It's maybe just not being executed on as well as it could be. 30% were neutral. I'd be quite interested to talk to some of them and see if whether that's based on past experience, or they just not really tried it. And only 15% felt that it wasn't important. So kind of pairing this with how people rated their email marketing efforts. Half rated them as terrible, and almost as a quarter as not so great. Only 4% marked themselves as above neutral. Now, I would say that accountants and bookkeepers tend to score themselves a bit harshly on their own marketing efforts. I'm sure people are doing a little bit better than that. But I do think there is a huge untapped potential there in terms of email marketing. And I think, like I say, the last slide, I think people realize that in terms of rating the importance of it to their strategy, but maybe just not executing on that as well as they could. And that kind of leads into the next one, which is what's that biggest challenge? And that's, we mentioned that earlier on, is knowing where to start. A third of firms said that knowing where to start was where they were stuck. And the other ones came out fairly even, things like creating content, consistency, growing the list. But obviously, if you haven't started, then that is a big problem. Now, we have some templates that Antia will share into the chat. So we've got some really good templates to help you with some ideas, and also that calendar that I showed you there. I'm hoping that helps people get started. I reiterate, this isn't exactly what you need to do. This is a really good starting place as a kind of default, and then tweak it to fit your firm. And then there's some templates in here for things like asking for referrals, cross-selling, upselling, that have been really popular with clients over the years. So grab those, and I think that will really help you get started. Now, I kind of been touching on some of this as we've gone. Like, why do email marketing? A few extra numbers not from this survey. So 100. So 100% of business owners have an email address. Probably not actually 100%, but 100% of the business owners you probably want to work with have an email address. They've certainly got to have one to log into Xero or QuickBooks or whatever. 40% of them will open your emails. Now, we know that because we send millions of emails for accountants and bookkeepers, and that is the average open rate. Now, I'm not sure if that sounds low or high to you, but it is actually really high. If you compare that to MailChimp's email benchmarks, their top performing category is about 13% lower than that. And that's I think it's government, comes out about 27%. So people open emails from accountants and bookkeepers. It's a really high open rate. And, you compare that to how many people might read a post if you put that on social media or something like that. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just, email is a really effective channel if you want to get your stuff read. 36, that's the return on investment of email. So for every dollar you spend, you get $36 back. I track this one every year. Now, I actually think it's much higher than that for what I do and what you guys do, because the marginal cost of sending an email is very little. A little bit of time, tiny subscription fee. You win one client out of that, even for a year, it massively pays for itself. So really good return on investment. And yeah, cost to get started, $0. So yeah, I'll show you our email app. You can use that for free. Or something like MailChimp has a free plan at the basic end as well. So I think there's some compelling numbers as to why to use email marketing. So I want to give some recommendations based on what we read in the survey. I've just come up with it, like some of the highlight stats there, the full report. You have that to read through, and we'll send that out by email as well. So if you're kind of new to email marketing or you've not done a lot recently, some of the basic recommendations would be get the right technology. So you need a proper app if you're going to do email marketing. MailChimp is probably the most popular for accountants and bookkeepers, certainly is in our survey, or try our app Compass for free. I'll show you that in just a second. The second recommendation I have is just send more emails. How many more? Well, like a third of firms aren't sending any. So, anything more than that is going to be better. Few firms send enough emails. I've given you that recommended schedule. I think that's a really good place to get started. Maybe start with clients, and then as you get your confidence, expand into emailing for prospects. And then, love your list. I think a really good engaged email list is one of the best marketing assets you can have. That's why everyone asks you for your email address, right? Because it's such a good channel. And try and keep your list clean as well. So that means like removing people who don't open your last, say, 10 emails, just remove them from your list. Sending to those people and them not opening them can hurt your deliverability. So like email service providers like Outlook and Google will look at that. So you're way better having more engaged people on your list than a bigger list of people who don't open stuff. Once you've got going a bit with email marketing, then have a look at some more advanced tactics. The first one of those would be fly fish, don't trawl. So a lot of people just send blanket emails out. They don't kind of segment their lists. You're far better sort of like segmenting your list down to the right people and send them the right offers at the right time. You're going to get better results and less unsubscribes. Somewhat extending from that would be niche content. So if you want to take email marketing beyond just your clients, I would be looking to do that in a niche if it was me personally. So, general business stuff, there's a lot of that out there. But if you're writing something like my example of an email newsletter for agencies, I actually do subscribe to a couple of those from accountants, far more likely to get engaged people with them. And the final one would be automation. So don't think of automation as replacing human contact and time. Like good automation enhances human interaction, not replaces it. So think sequences for client onboarding, lead nurturing, that kind of thing, but still having that human element as well. So you've got the report. Take a look at that. There's more tips and obviously more of the data set in there. If you want to try out Compass, which is our app that we've built from the ground for accountants and bookkeepers, it's going to help you grow referrals, revenue, retention, and it'll guide you through all of that. So that pain point of not knowing where to start, that's literally where we built this app. That's the place we built this app from. That's why it's got the name Compass. So like the misspelling is communication, the COMM, and Compass obviously being something that guides you. It's got those email templates that I've shown you in here and more that they're built into it, right? So we've got these email templates. You can just drag them in and hit send. We've got email newsletter content in there and email automation as well for doing things like client onboarding and lead nurturing. So If you would like to try that, hit the link that's in the chat, and we've got a beta going on at the moment. No credit card required. Happy for you to try that, and you can use that like as you would a tool like MailChimp. If you're already a BizInc client, if you already have email marketing as part of your plan, then we'll be in touch about how you can start working with Compass. Yeah, and for anyone else, feel free to sign up for that beta. So that's it. I've tried to keep it nice and short. The main thing is that I want to launch that report, get this out there. I think that email is as old as the hills when it comes to digital marketing, but it's still not being used anything like enough by accountants and bookkeepers, and I really want to change that. The report is something we're going to do every year, see how that changes over time, and keep offering those tips and helping you with it. So start here. Any questions you've got, feel free to ask. Let me know right now, and I will answer them. If not, we'll be following up with the recording and these resources I've been sharing, and yeah, let me know any questions. Okay, so Anthea is asking the best day to send emails. I was going to include that in the session today, actually, so that there's some really good data on this. The best day to send emails. So what MailChimp say, and I probably agree with this, is 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. I think that's a good time to send. I would actually say that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the best days. I've never really been able to find one that's better than the other, particularly. And between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So I think if you're doing B2B, what we do, don't send on a Monday, don't send on a Friday. There's always exceptions to this, right? Some people send on weekends, but I think really safe to send Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. John's just asking what's the cost of Compass. Like right now it's in beta, so you're happy for you to use that for free. Fully functioning bulk email marketing tool, heaps of content in there. And if you're an existing BizInc client, that has the email marketing already, we'll be in touch with how that works with your plan. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join. If you have any more questions about any of this stuff, anything to do with email marketing, then feel free to give me a shout. We'll send that email out either later today or tomorrow. And if you want to try out Compass, yeah, hit that beta, and I'm happy to do a bit of a one-to-one session with you on that. I'm going to help with your email strategy because yeah, this is the one tactic that I think over the years of working with accounts, which is nearly 15 years now, I've still not seen it done really well. I'm hoping we can change that. All right. Well, thanks for coming. Enjoy the rest.